Today, another Ekko problem. The steps, no working. And as you can see, I don't have an orange light functioning anymore. And so what I had done, I took the motor off and took the motor apart, thinking that maybe I would find a loose wire or something that I could solder back together. And it turns out there were no loose wires, and there were two brushes in there. It's a brushed electric motor, and so I have a feeling that disassembling and reassembling the motor, I got grease that was in the screw end of the motor on the brushes and caused a short on the inside, because as soon as I reinstalled it, it worked twice, and then I blew the 20 amp fuse, replaced the 20 amp fuse, cycled it a few more times, and blew the fuse again, and so I've given up on that. I have a new motor purchased off of Amazon. It's not the name brand. It's I don't know, it was like $40. The name brand from the Kwikee company or from eTrailer runs from like 160 to 250 bucks. And from best I can tell, they are nearly identical. And if I only got 1 year out of the original motor, then I don't know, I'm willing to try the $40 motor first. So to tackle this, I've got the replacement motor, obviously, an air socket because I'm lazy and I get real tired of working in confined spaces with the regular socket. I do have some cutters because I do have to trim or cut the zip tie that's holding the power wire on. I'm pretty sure it's an 8mm socket. I'll try that out and verify. I have a board, just a 2x4 scrap piece that I'm gonna just wedge under the steps to hold them up when I take the motor out. They're not real heavy, but they do put a little bit of a strain on the motor, and they do want to, you know, obviously fall down with gravity once you pop the motor off. I have a little dielectric grease. I don't think it's completely necessary. When you look at the ends of these connectors, that green part right there is like a little gasket, so I don't think you're gonna get too much moisture or anything up in there, but you know, I don't really want to keep getting underneath this thing and replacing motors, so if I can prevent a little corrosion there, I will. That's what I got. Here's the motor. It's these 3 screws or bolts that need to come out. I take this piece of wood and just kind of wedge it underneath here, and that should be fine to hold it up. I'd suggest, if you're gonna do this, that you wear some sort of safety glasses, because all the dirt, grime, and crap underneath here when you touch stuff falls right in your face. Just to get oriented here, this is the controller. Here's your light. Here's a big wire harness we don't need to mess with. And then this little wire harness with the red and yellow wires that goes directly to the motor. You have to pry up on this little clip here, and then it just pops out. I should mention that even with the coach battery off, the steps can still operate because they are wired to the chassis battery. So if you get underneath here and that door opens, or it senses it opens, these will extend and you don't want to get smashed down here. I know that mine's not going to work because the fuse is blown, so it's not going to extend. So you could remove the fuse if you want, or just kind of stay to the side of the steps until you get this disconnected. Once this is disconnected, the motor is not powered and it's not going to extend. Was I right? Yep, 8mm will do it. There are 3 black plastic spacers, one behind each screw. So when you pull this motor out, they're gonna fall. Keep track of them because you'll need them. Just there. There is some tension on this thing, or torque I should say. So there's one of the spacers. Here's two, the third one just fell. This pin is all you're pulling out from that hole. Right here. Just kind of got to wiggle it, shimmy it out. All right, attempt number 2. So it turns out I ordered the wrong motor the first time. It looked exactly the same on Amazon, but there was a pretty important difference. The shank length on the motor and the gear width was about half the size. So I couldn't get the motor in with the spacers. It wouldn't fit at all. And then that's when I noticed the part number. So I was able to cross-reference those and get the right one. So it's 300-1457. And then on the new one, 300-1457. So I was able to get the right one. About 40 bucks on Amazon. And it looks to be pretty much an identical copy. Some tiny differences because it is sort of an off-brand knockoff. But everything is close enough. New motor, same shank length. Now the construction of this it's a little bit different. Like rather than a screw, there's like a rivet or a pin on the original one. But electrical wiring connector, everything else looks exactly the same. All right, here's the 3 screw holes. And I still have the stairs supported by this block of wood. And as I mentioned before, the hardest part is balancing everything as you're trying to line it all up, because the screws want to fall out one side and the spacers want to fall off the other. Try to hold it flat. Alright, the dumb camera fell off. I just got it seated in there. You have to pull the screws out just far enough so that they're not sticking out of the spacers, and then rotate the motor so that the teeth of the gears can actually slide in together, and then you can get the shank into the hole and then rotate the whole motor to align the screws. So I kind of had to rotate this long actual motor part up, get the teeth aligned, and then rotate the whole thing clockwise until I could feel the screws hit the spot in there. Got the grease. There we go. Got it plugged in. If you're wondering which fuse it is, well, for one, it's a 20 amp fuse. It's for this 23 Ekko. It's under the dinette here. Where is it? It's hard to spot in the dark. Oh, it's right there. I hadn't pulled the blown one back out. Hey, would you look at that? Blown fuse. The fuse back in. Gotta do it one-handed because it's... Oh, alright, I just heard the steps clunk. Sounds way better than the last one did. Nice and smooth. Alright, I'm gonna count that as a win.